Being a millionaire is not enough to guarantee a secure retirement. This is a little bit of a Debbie Downer situation, but today I'm going to break it down for you and explain why you need to aim higher. All right, welcome back, y'all. This is probably going to be a big one for you because so many of us have a hang-up around the term millionaire, right? It is a goal. And in fact, on this channel, I talk a lot about the tactics and the strategies to get to $1 million. And it's a big hang-up, right? It's a psychological point for most people. But the fact is $1 million, it's not that much. It's really, really not. So before we get there, let's back up a little bit. So this channel is about budgeting, saving, investing, and building a life of abundance, right? It is about investing for a long time with discipline and building up $1 million plus portfolio and having a sense that you're not living in poverty, right? A sense of abundance, that the world is yours. And that applies here in America as well as other free nations with stock markets. And I use $1 million as kind of the keystone of it because it sits on the border of amazing and not believable. In my life, I've had a couple of conversations with people that really impacted me. I have been interested in saving, investing, and budgeting from a very early age, and through my 20s and 30s, I really was focused on it. And I remember one conversation I said, we're going to invest and we're going to have $1 million. And it was inconceivable to the person I was talking to that $1 million was possible for a middle class or lower middle class couple in that case. They couldn't buy it. It was too much. They couldn't see it. A second conversation was with a past relative, step relative, who asked me, when do you stop saving? And it blew my mind because at the time, a house, a wife, I think one of our 2 children at that time, 2 cars, and a couple of vacations a year. And he felt like we lived like paupers because we saved and we invested for the future. And it really woke me up that people don't see. They're so hung up on the materialistic society we live in, they don't see what the future can bring because 5, 10, 20, 40 years down the road is too much for them. They can't conceive of $1 million. So, as the old saying goes, $1 million is not what it used to be, and it's true. With inflation, $1 million is not that great anymore, but it's still a psychological marker for people. And so in many of the examples I give on this channel, I use $1 million as the goal, and you want to aim for more than that. And the fact is you need, probably substantially more than that, but I don't want to scare you. I'm not here to be a Debbie Downer. I'm not here to tell you you can't achieve financial freedom. I'm telling you, you just have to be disciplined. So in most societies, we have some sort of Social Security fund, right, that will pay you at retirement. In America, it's called Social Security. In other countries, it's called other things. But generally, you pay into it during your working years, and then at retirement, they pay you a fixed fee. In America, it averages about $1,500 a month. Now, if you just reach retirement, are you ready to live off of $1,500 a month? Well, no. For most of us, the answer is no. For some of us, that would be great, but for most of us, the answer is no. So I look at Social Security as kind of the icing on the cake. I need to make my own plans for retirement. And that's what we talk about here. And that's what we're building towards. But $1 million isn't going to do it. You can use a lot of online calculators and see where your investments may carry you over 40 years, but I encourage you to aim for far more than $1 million. And the reason is this. There's something called the 4% rule. I've talked about it on this channel before, but the idea is this, that if you have a basket of investments, you could take out 4% every single year and should, in a relatively good economy, have enough to grow your investments even after inflation. May not be much, but at least your investments are growing. So, basic math, if you have $1 million, if you take out 4%, it's only $40,000, about $2,000 a month, and you have to pay taxes off of that. Well, that's about where Social Security is. Now, you add the two together, that's what any great financial advisor will do, is they'll look at your investments, they'll look at what you could take out over a projected lifespan and your Social Security. They'll work with you to show you how much you can actually live off of. But that $2,000 a month-ish is not enough. It's less than that. And I don't think anybody would agree. So depending on where you're at, what lifestyle you're used to, what your monthly expenses are, and what you want to do in retirement, more than $1 million is going to be required. So while I use that as an example to show people how to get there over, say, a 40-year investing period, it needs to be more than that. You know, as someone whose net worth is close to $1 million, I'm going to tell you, I don't feel rich. I feel poor. I drive a used car. I live in a regular house. I make these videos, right? I don't feel rich because if right now I had to start living off of my investments, I'm not. I'm, somewhere more than what somebody would make at minimum wage. So, maybe more than that. Let's not be, unfair here, right? But in terms of living off of it for 30, 40 years, no, $1 million's not enough, guys. So while we use that as an example, and it's a psychological barrier for many people, and it may be for you as well, the fact is you need to aim much higher. $2 million, $5 million, $10 million is where you should be aiming. That's going to give you the seed to have a life of abundance in retirement, and that seed that you can pass on to future generations and start building generational wealth when you teach them the tactics to build for the future and not spend the principal like so many lottery winners do. Let me know any questions below.